So this video is a tutorial to accompany the triptych twist blanket pattern, and in it I'm going to focus on showing you how to work these crossed cables. So we have a single cross cable section here, a double cross cable section here, and a treble cross cable section here. Now, sorry, that's just this part here. Now, this is a technique that, as I say, it does go with the pattern, but you can apply the principles to many kinds of crochet cabling projects. So it's a really useful one to learn, even if you're not making the blanket. We've got rows of double crochet and single crochet. When we make the cables, we're going to make these front post stitches, and the stitch I'm using here is a front post extended treble. That's in US terms. We're always going to make these the cables into the cables 2 row below. So here you can see I've got my cable, which is worked in the same row as the double crochets, and then I've got a row of single crochet here. So when I start this row, I'm going to skip the single crochet row when I'm working cables, and I'm going to work into these cables here. I'm going to work double crochets as the background into the top of the single crochets. So let's get on with it, and you'll see as I go along. So I've attached another colour here, just so you can see how the rows kind of cross over. I'm going to start by making 4 double crochet. These are all going into the single crochet in the row below. Now the part I'm going to do next is what I call the 2 together method, and it's a way of reducing the gaps behind cables. So you can see in the cable below here, this is a double crochet 2 together. Now the second part of that double crochet 2 together essentially fills in behind this cable. So if you look at the back here, we haven't got any missed single crochets. All the stitches are worked into. And that means there's a little hole here, but it minimises the hole. And I've used that technique throughout. So I've done my 4 double crochet. I'm now going to work a double crochet 2 together. And that will essentially count as the 5th stitch before I do my cross cable. So this second part here will essentially cover the back of the cable I'm about to make. So to cross my cables over, if you look here, we've got that one goes underneath and that one goes over the top. We're literally just crossing them. I'm going to work my first post stitch into here, the second cable, and then I'll work my second post stitch back into the first one. So to work a front post extended treble, I'm going to yarn over twice, insert the hook underneath that post, so the post is in front of the hook, that's why it's front post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, that's the extended part, then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 3 times. So that is my first cable, and you can see where it's continued the line there. So now I'm going to work my second cable to make the cross. Again, yarn over twice. I'm going to go back and under this cable here. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 3 times. So that has completed my cross. So next, if you look at the back, you can see this empty stitch here is essentially the stitch behind that second cable, this one. So I'm going to work my double crochet 2 together, that stitch and the next stitch. So that's 1, 2. So that is my first cross cable. I'm just going to So I'm just going to work the rest of this section of the cable repeat. Each cable repeat section here is 12 stitches, so it's easier to break it down that way. So that's 4 double crochet. I'm going to work after that double crochet 2 together. So you can see there I've got my 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's my 12 stitches on that repeat. So next we're going to do the double cross cable. Very similar principle. I'm going to start with 3 double crochet. Let's just move these out of the way. That's 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and then I'm going to work that double crochet 2 together. And just double check that. Yeah, that's right. So next we're going to do the cross cable, the double cross cable. So yarn over twice, and here I'm going to start in this cable, then I'm going to work into that cable. So I'll do the furthest 2 first, then come back, work into this one, and then into this one. So yarn over twice, insert, and you kind of really insert it behind the body of the cable when you're working here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over, pull through 2 3 times. So that's the first one. And the second. That's the first part. Then I'm going to yarn over twice and move back and work into this one here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn up, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 3 times. The first one, and again this cable. So you can see here, it gets easier to see the more cables you work actually. So those 2 are crossed over the bottom, and these 2 have come over the top. So I'm then going to work my double crochet together, and we've got 4 cable stitches here. This part here is the second part of that double crochet 2 together. So we're going to skip those 2 stitches and work the next double crochet 2 together into this stitch here. So we'll have 2 unworked single crochet tops there. So the 2 unworked ones and the 2 sides of the double crochet 2 together form those 4 stitches. So I'm just going to pop my yarn over there. So let's finish that section of 12 by working 3 double crochet. So that's my double crossed cable stitch. So next for the biggie, which is the treble, which uses exactly the same principle. Starts to get a little bit fiddly, but once you've done those 2, you'll be fine doing this. So I'm going to start with 2 double crochet this time, and I'm going to work a double crochet 2 together. And now we're ready to start our cross cable. So I'm going to work in this one first, then that one, then that one, then come back and work in that one, that one, that one. So yarn over twice, and this does get, you can see with the earlier one, it does get a little bit tight, the tension, but you can kind of pull it out or just try and keep a little bit of relaxation when you're making your cables. Okay, so I've yarned over twice, insert a hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish the extended front post extended treble. So next one, I find it useful to kind of keep my thumb on the base of the cable just to keep that nice clean line. Let me show you. So when you pull up a loop, if you keep your thumb on the cable, it stops it kind of dragging too far out and just keeps it neat. So like that. So there's my first 3. So I'm going to come back here, work into this one. Yarn over twice. This is where you can see it's a bit difficult because I'm pulling those stitches under. So that's my first one done. You can see it's crossing over those 3. And the second. And the third. So that is my treble cross cable. So you can see there's your 3 underneath. They're a bit squashed, but once you work into them, they will stretch out. So next, to create that double crochet 2 together. So here we've got 6 stitches in this cable section altogether. So we're going to miss 4 stitches at the back. So that second half of the double crochet 2 together makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll be the 6th. So that's where I'm going to start the next double crochet 2 together. I'll show you that. And what that does is it just helps anchor those cables. So I'm going to do 2 more double crochet to finish that section. So there we have it. There's our 3 cross cable stitches. On the next row, I'm going to work a row of single crochet over the top. I'm not going to show you that now, but just a little hint. When you come back to working these, particularly in the treble, these stitches can get a little lost, so you might want to just stretch your work out a bit to check you don't miss that one, because it's quite easy to do that. That will also help shape the cable. When you're working this particular pattern and when you're working the single crochets back along, I suggest you might want to count in 12s, because the blanket is a multiple of 12. So if you count in 12s, it's a bit more easy than counting the full stitch count. So I hope you find that useful. I'll put a link to the blanket pattern details in the description below. If you want more crochet tips, please do subscribe and visit doradoes.co.uk.